Now, most of you probably know what an indie game is or what it entails. But for those of you who don't, an indie game is something that was made independently or without the help of a largely developed team. A lot of times, they utilize larger publishers to help get funding and publicity, but for the most part, their teams are much smaller. Take Realm of the Mad God, for example, from my last video like this. Wild Shadow Studios was a team of only 2 people, with a few others joining down the line. Nowadays, it's owned by Decca, who in turn is owned by a much larger parent company, Embracer Group. But its roots were still indie. Now, let's take a look at Cave Story, a game where it's almost impossible to get more independent. I won't hold you here too long. Let's get right into it. Now, when I say it's almost impossible to be more indie than Cave Story, I well and truly mean it. Starting development back when he was in college, Daisuke Pixel Amaya would work on his own for 5 years until he released Cave Story in 2004 completely for free. Pixel did everything himself, from the sprite work to the music, and even creating the music engine to compose the music. Every aspect of this game was made by just one man, no publisher team, no other development team. I should also specify that I'm talking specifically about the original freeware version. There have been other ports, such as for DSiWare, WiiWare, Steam, and a 3D version for the 3DS, which all were published by Nicalis. What exactly is Cave Story? Cave Story is what is known as a Metroidvania. It takes concepts and mechanics from games like Metroid and Castlevania, as the name implies, and merges them together. It is a 2D, side-scrolling platformer with some RPG-like elements to it. Throughout the game, you'll find various weapons with a variety of uses, from a simple handgun to a missile launcher and even a sword. Every weapon can both gain and lose levels depending on how you play. Whenever an enemy is killed, it can drop either a heart, missile ammo, or experience chips. These chips are how your various weapons level up, though they do need to be equipped to obtain the XP. Every time you take damage, your current weapon will lose XP, and sometimes even a full level. The game also has health upgrades and missile ammo upgrades found in various areas throughout the game, so while it's not open world, a little exploration will certainly help you out in the end. This next small section here does contain spoilers about the various endings, so if you haven't played the game yet, I suggest heading over to this timestamp, or just the beginning of the next chapter really. Currently, there are 3 different endings you can get in Cave Story. The bad ending, which requires you to escape on a dragon with Kazuma. The neutral ending, which involves most of the main cast escaping. And the good/true ending, where you kill the being who made the demon crown, saving most everyone. Chances are you won't be able to get the true ending on your first playthrough, as you do have to go against your instincts and not save Professor Booster, which in turn ironically lets him live, as going to help him is what causes him to die. Skipping over him isn't exactly easy, however. It requires a relatively precise jump that you only get 1 attempt at, unless you want to just constantly restart the game. Doing this allows him to come back later at a pivotal point when the Doctor, the main antagonist, starts enacting his plan and the Mimiga village is completely empty. Upon meeting up with him at Arthur's house, he'll give you the Booster 2.0, a direct upgrade of the Booster version 0.8. The difference between the 2 boosters is that the Booster 2.0 allows travel only in one direction at a time, unless an outside force interferes, such as hitting an enemy, the sloped ground, or firing a level 3 machine gun. I'm not going to spoil everything about each ending. I will leave the rest up to you if you want to play it yourself. As a warning, the final area of the true ending is quite literally hell. No, seriously, there's a welcome sign and everything. Cave Story was originally developed for PCs in mind, and as such, its controls are confined to the keyboard on the original freeware version. However, with some mapping, or even with Cave Story Plus on Steam, it's possible to use a controller. There are also the versions, as previously mentioned, for DSiWare, though you can't quite get that one anymore, and a remaster for the 3DS called Cave Story 3D, with updated graphics, a couple extra areas, but 99% of the game is basically the exact same with the 3D models. Taking the original into account though, the controls are fairly simple. Arrow keys control movement, left, right, up, and down, with down being the interact key for going through doorways and using save or heal spots. Q is your pause/inventory button, Z is for jumping, and X is to fire your weapon. A and S also rotate through your weapon arsenal in order to use the best weapon for any given situation. There is no run button, the character runs at a flat speed and can only be increased 2 ways. The previously mentioned booster, or by getting hit in an enemy in such a way that the knockback pushes you forward instead of back. Jumping in the game is a tad floaty, where you'll hang in the air for a bit longer than a lot of other platformers. It does take some getting used to, but is otherwise overall not too bad. I'd personally suggest trying to map it to a controller or just buying it on Steam, as there's also 2 extra difficulties, easy and hard, as well as a couple extra game modes to try out, but only for the Steam version. K-Story boasts a fun, retro pixelated art style, similar to the ones that could have been seen on the SNES, if not a tad higher definition, so to speak. While the entire game takes place inside an actual cave, save for a few small portions, the set pieces and details of the various areas do well to keep everything from feeling dark and dreary. Sure, the color palette is going to be slightly darker, but it's not dark enough to bring down the mood. Grasslands is still bright with greenery, Sand Zone is a more light green stone with bright and yellow sand all over. Obviously some areas like the Labyrinth will feel a bit gloomier, but when it does, it fits well. Now, what's the visual art style without the accompanying audio style? As mentioned at the beginning, Pixel arranged every piece of music himself for this game, even going so far as to code and develop the engine to compose the music itself. It is by far my favorite part of the game, from the calming sounds of Mimiga Village, giving you the quaint small-town vibes, indicating that you're safe from harm here, to the fun and energetic grasslands. You may be fighting through hordes of critters, but at least you can jam out to some incredible beats while you do so. Every track in this game fits so perfectly where it's placed, it's almost spooky. And then you get to what is my opinion, one of the best tracks of the whole game, Moonsong, which plays at the outer wall. The first time you've taken a breath of fresh air the whole game and seen the outside world. You're past a pivotal point in the story, yet the music is oddly calming, almost melancholy in a way. This song, it both does and doesn't fit here, and personally I'm conflicted. I'll let you guys decide what you think. Take a listen. Either way, this game's soundtrack lands among my top 5. This video isn't meant to convince you that K-Story is the greatest game of all time or anything. Rather, just a small project to show you guys what it is and pay respects to what I call the father of indie games, and other people call it that as well. Without K-Story, we wouldn't have some of the smash hits that we do now. Games like Undertale and Deltarune by Toby Fox have both been stated to have taken inspiration from K-Story in some way. Obviously, games would continue to have been developed and evolve over time, there's no doubt about that, but there's no denying that K-Story has definitely left its mark on the indie scene. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a like, sub if you want to, and follow me on Twitch. I stream a variety of games over there. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, night, whatever time it may be for you. Peace.